hopefully 2025 will have a lot less regrets. Now, in 2024, I bought a lot of devices to help curb my addiction to my smartphone and social media and just the internet in general. On this course of digital minimalism, I have tried so many different devices. Some have worked great and some not so much. And a lot of these devices, to be honest, are not even devices that promote digital minimalism in any way. So I'm going to go through a list of regrettable purchases of 2024, and these are all tech related, but I want to go through each one of them and discuss why I regret getting it, and some of these devices I no longer have, but some of them I do. Now, the first purchase of 2024 that I completely regret, and I got rid of the device quite soon after, was the iPhone 15 Pro Max. So this is the opposite of digital minimalism. I originally justified this purchase as something that I would use for content creation. Currently, I use a camera to record my videos, but when I first started out, I wanted to use a phone, and of course I fell for the marketing of Apple and thought that the iPhone 15 Pro Max would be the ultimate content creation device. And boy was I wrong with that. The phone itself was great. It was a standard iPhone. Honestly, I prefer my iPhone SE from 2016 a million times over the iPhone 15 Pro Max. The camera quality honestly was quite disappointing. I was using an iPhone 12 mini before I purchased this, and I found that that device was a million times better in capturing video. The iPhone 15 Pro Max was maybe designed for people who were creating cinematic feature films or something like this, but as somebody who just needs simple B-roll and simple content, it was honestly overkill and not great quality. I was really struggling as somebody who is visually impaired to get my shots in focus, and I can't even use the footage I had shot on it over a year ago. So I sold off that device, and that was able to finance my future purchases and some regrettable ones at that. Now, the next purchase I regret from 2024 is the Punkt MP02. Now, I originally purchased the MP01, which I still have. I really love this device. I love the design of it, the philosophy behind it of being a minimalist phone. I got a lot of comments that it looks like a calculator, and I really love this device, but the major caveat being it's only a 2G device. So it doesn't work in most countries, and unfortunately it will stop working in France by the end of the year, but I have kept the MP01 faithfully, and I still love it as one of my favorite digital minimalist devices. So I thought with that in mind that the Punkt MP02 would follow along those lines but be more usable because it has 4G access. Unfortunately, the MP02 was a major disappointment for me. First, the phone was quite buggy. I don't know if this was just my device in particular. I know a lot of people have great success with this device, but my device would randomly freeze. I would have to reboot it, and it was just quite unreliable. It also has the application Pigeon or Signal for those of you who use the Signal application, and this application is great. I was able to add some family members and easily communicate. It's kind of like an application similar to WhatsApp. But unfortunately, again, I don't really like having that on a minimalist device per se, and it wasn't enough for me to keep using the device. So I ended up sending it back and getting a refund. Now, the next couple devices are similar in the fact that they are rugged phones. I have a strong distaste for rugged phones. I think a phone could be rugged and maybe better looking than these devices. They all seem quite masculine, and I don't see why there couldn't be a more neutral or even a feminine or different color of rugged phone. The first one being the Crosscall S4 Core. I bought this secondhand, so I got it for about 60 euros. And the device itself is fine. I really like the design of it. But the one thing I really hate about this phone, and I have with other phones, is that it runs on KaiOS. Now, KaiOS is an outdated operating system, so much so that a lot of apps that people need on iOS no longer work, such as WhatsApp. I think this device would be usable if WhatsApp still worked on it, but unfortunately it doesn't, and the screen itself is quite small, and the accessibility is truly lacking for me on this device. But it is a rugged device. If you're somebody who just needs calling and texting, it could work. I still have this device. Sometimes I use it when I'm mountain biking or hiking in extreme locations and I don't want my phone to fall out or break. I keep it around just in case. Now, along the line of the rugged phone, the phone I'm currently using for the month of January is the S22 Flip. So for those of you who don't know, I bought this phone last summer. I gave it a negative review because I had some negative experiences with certain applications on the device. And my overall thought of this device, it has to be one of the ugliest phones ever designed. I've tried to paint it and make it look as aesthetically pleasing to myself when using it or putting it on a table, but it still just looks like a construction phone, and that's what it was designed for. So I'm not going after it and saying it's not designed for me. It's obviously, I'm not the target audience, but it is really, it's a brick. It's heavy, it's clunky. The one factor I do like about it is quite accessible as far as the physical buttons are concerned. The keypad is large and easy to see and easy clicky feedback, so I really do appreciate that. But as far as the rest of the phone is concerned, it's not a dumb phone. I fell into the trap where a lot of people in the digital minimalism community and the dumb phone community have recommended this flip phone more often than not. And once I received it, of course, I knew that it was an Android-based operating system. It has Android Go, which is a slimmed down version of Android because the RAM is quite small in this device. And honestly, as somebody who's addicted to smartphones and social media, this is not ideal. Even though the screen is tiny, I can still get sucked in and waste time on this device. Recently, I've set it up in a way that I'm using it a lot less, and I find that I can make it a digital minimalist device with a lot of effort, but aesthetically, I really hate this device, and I regret falling to the peer pressure and getting it. Another device which is not a phone that I regret purchasing in 2024 is actually a refurbished or custom iPod Classic from Obsolete. Now, I love the idea behind this device. I really love older Apple products, and of course, I loved having iPods. I still have a couple of my originals, but I really wanted something different. I wanted something, of course, pink. I started going through my pink era at the end of 2024 and started getting a lot of devices with this aesthetic. And I thought this device would answer all of my dreams for the dream MP3 player. Now, I've mentioned that I've left Spotify and I've been listening to CDs and using MP3 players primarily, so I thought incorporating this particular iPod would also fit into my everyday carry. Unfortunately, I had a lot of technical problems with this device. I don't know if it's a me problem or if it's a device malfunction, but honestly, I couldn't use it because the device wasn't charging. It would play music fine, but I couldn't recharge the device. I tried multiple cables and I just couldn't get it to work or recharge completely, so I couldn't use the device as I had wanted. I still keep the device because it looks nice. I like having it. Maybe I'll put it in a background of my video as decoration, but it was very expensive. I bought it as a birthday gift for myself, and I have extreme regret spending so much money on something that doesn't really work. Now, the last regret I have is a video I did about using a smartwatch as a phone. I ended up getting the Ultra AI3 from Microware. First regret is I had to buy this device on AliExpress, which I do not use on a general basis, and I do not condone using it. I don't like the environmental impacts, and I just don't trust the tech or the products on the site. So it'll be the first and last time I order from AliExpress, and honestly, it's a regretful experience. The device itself, it feels okay in the hands. It doesn't feel like bad quality, but it's not water resistant. It might look like an Apple Watch, but obviously it's not because you can insert your SIM card and use it as a phone. The quality of the phone calls is not great. The device itself is just massive. It's not really user-friendly for someone who wants to just have a watch on hand. It's like having a literal phone on your hands. And it's not something I could see myself using, so I find that I bought it out of waste to create a video to potentially curb my smartphone usage. But the device itself is still a smart device. You can add applications on it. You can still scroll and doom scroll even on a small screen. Also, it's not very accessible. I had a lot of hard time seeing certain aspects of the device, and yeah, it's a regretful purchase, but I still have it lying around. So those are my main regrets from my 2024 tech purchases. I've of course purchased other items that I don't necessarily regret, but I probably shouldn't have purchased. I kind of wasted a lot of money collecting things because, along with being an addict to social media, I'm also an addict to tech in general, especially old tech. I'm what some might call a collector or a hoarder. So I have collected a lot of devices, and 2024 was no exception. My major collections, of course, are focused on BlackBerry devices. I don't regret any of those purchases necessarily, but did I need to purchase all of those devices? No. And will I be using all of those phones? Probably not. But it's something that does make me happy, and I'm going to keep doing that. And I think in 2025, I will continue to expand some of my collections or BlackBerry hoards. But hopefully I can stop myself from making unnecessary large tech purchases that I know that I'll regret, and use some of the devices like the S22 Flip and give them a second chance to see if I could really use these devices in other scenarios, or maybe turn out and like them in the end. Do you have any tech purchases that you regret from 2024? Let me know down below. I don't want to feel alone in this. And thank you so much for watching, and see you soon.